Marymount International School, empowering girls through community, confidence and care in boarding. Set within 7 acres of green space, just 12 miles from central London, Marymount International School London offers a unique blend of academic excellence, wellbeing and community through its flexible boarding options. In this conversation with Paula Horton, Head of Boarding, we explore how Marymount creates a home away from home for globally mobile students, nurturing independence, friendship and confidence. Our discussion will reveal how the school's boarding approach reflects its values of care, flexibility and personal growth, while supporting girls to thrive both academically and personally. So, Paula, welcome. It's lovely to see you here today.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you. It's lovely to be here.
Yeah, so
I'm
in
glad.
our first question, if we can also set the scene with a little about the school, you've got a proud tradition of welcoming students from around the world. So it'd be lovely that if our audience just get a flavour of that. So, what do you see as the key benefits of boarding with globally mobile students, particularly in an international community like Marymount?
Boarding is an interesting concept. I know that there is a lot of controversy around the subject, but we find for many of our students, our boarding house is approximately a third usually across the whole school numbers, ranging from grade 6 to grade 12. It's not a massive one, but we kind of like it that way. We kind of keep it small and family, and then the girls they blend more like a family rather than just each grade keeping to each other. So we find the grade 12s hanging with the grade 10s, and the 7s and 6s running around in the garden, all with quite ease, just like families should. That's important that we find with boarding is it gives a child an opportunity to step away from their comfort zone almost, even though you wouldn't want them to step away from a comfort zone at that, young age, but to find out who they are and what they bring when they're not somebody's daughter and they're not somebody's sister and they're not somebody's, grandchild, but they're themselves. They're standing up on their own, but still within this very careful, supported environment. And mostly they have a lot of fun.
Well, that's fantastic to know.
Yes,
Yes,
yes, they have quite a lot of fun, more than we would like them to have, actually. So we're focusing very much. It's a very holistic education under the goals of the RSHM. It's a highly academic environment, but there is plenty of emphasis on the pastoral care.
yes, brilliant.
We've got a hugely diverse community. People say, where do they all come from? Well, they come from everywhere. We don't have a core where, the thing we come from, they come from Colombia and they come from Japan. So the girls meet friends from all over the world.
And I'm sure parents would love to know what you especially do when for new boarders settling in to get that home feel when they first arrive. So can you explain what will happen if when a new child enrolls and is a boarder?
Absolutely. We have a fabulous induction weekend, actually. So before the school term starts on the Monday, we welcome all the girls in on Friday. The returning boarders, what we call the lifers, they come in as well, part of the boarding community, and they prepare activities and events, and there's a whole induction program where they can meet each other. The mums and dads come into the halls, help them settle into their rooms. There's a beautiful reception from the headmistress. The girls go off and play and have pizza and things. And then the first Friday night, we start the sort of steady and slow induction, because the girls come from all sorts of different places. They all have different languages, of course, and varying levels of English, but usually, of course, adequate to their need. But we start the induction very slowly and carefully, just so that we're not dumping them with a whole load of information, with a little bit of this, and here's the laundry, and then we have, some fun and a bit of a games and that. Here's the dining hall, this is the book. The house parents are absolutely totally dedicated, and they're around that whole weekend. On the Saturday, we have a beautiful barbecue. In the morning, they have a scavenger hunt to try and show them around the campus. The campus is magnificent. But it's quite extensive in as much as you can get lost. So we help them sort of find their way, show them different buildings, and all with a bit of fun attached. Then there's a lovely family barbecue where we have a tug of war, and a beautiful meal prepared outside in our beautiful lawns. Saturday evenings, sometimes the girls want to go back, having dipped their toe into boarding, then they go back with mum and dad to the hotel and say, okay, now let me just process. And then Sunday morning they come back to us. We'll have an opening chapel service. We are welcoming all faiths. We are a Catholic school, but we welcome all faiths and those of none. And we help focus on making them feel at home as soon as possible. Sunday, they usually sort of pop down into Kingston, which is our local market town, find the way where they could go get a coffee, and then Monday morning, ready for school. And then the induction process continues through the week with steady and slow reiteration of all of our schedules and that. We're not enormously strict, but there is routines, of course, which there always is in a boarding school.
And is it one house where all age ranges are?
It's all within the body of the school, and it's sort of hard to explain. It's right, we're sort of above the classrooms and that, so it's well within the school. You don't have to leave the campus or move everything. And there's 3 different halls: one for the seniors, one for the middle schoolers, and one for the high schoolers. So they're blended, but they're all very much close next to each other. They share common rooms, they share the lounges. We've got beautiful lounges where they can watch TV or study or cook. So, and the girls all share those central spaces.
Now, a topic, well-being, is very popular. So it would be interesting to have your views on well-being and what you do and how you define it and what you do to support the girls, but also flexibility and independence, which you touched on at the beginning of the conversation. So how do you foster these at Marymount? Because they seem to very much underpin your philosophy.
We do like to focus that all the time. That's our core is focusing on the well-being. Teenagerhood is such a tricky time, and girls are going through so many different changes, and there's so many different ways of that life is throwing things at them. So we work with kindness and hopefully an emphasis on self-development. So, but kindness is the core of everything. It's the most important part of our daily focus, is to make sure that each child feels that they are being supported in their own way, in the development that they need at their own pace. So we have a lot of the girls share rooms, so there's a lot of camaraderie and support from each other as well during the leisure hours of the thing. We have regular study periods where they have to sit quietly and do their work, but then we have lots of events. Our lovely boarding council, which is members of the community, have lots of events where we promote their holistic well-being. We have family dinners. We call it forced fun. So they all no, we don't want to do that. But then when they get there, we have lovely dinners, we have quizzes, we have excursions, we take them out into the city. So there's an opportunity to help them grow in responsibility and develop their independence, but in a safe and structured setting. We're flexible. We allow them to grow at their own pace, as I've said, and we work really hard on building the self-discipline, because I strongly believe that if you can, kind of rein yourself in and hold yourself together when you're on your own, then you can do it anytime. So, and if boarding's a very brave choice, and if it's the hardest thing you've ever had to do, at least you've done it then.
Yes. And of course, that leads us into independence and these leadership opportunities that you talk about. So, can you share some of the activities and traditions that develop what you feel develops this sense of leadership and a strong sense of community?
I would love to. Boarding and day schools are completely merged in Marymount. There's no huge sort of division between the day girls and the boarding girls. And we have a lot of flexi boarders who come in and spend 2 or 3 days a night, 3 days a week, where their schedule permits it. So we have a lot of opportunities of course, there's the house captains and things. There's the boarding council where the girls, we don't run the council, they run the council, and they bring us ideas, and they sort of campaign to be the president, and then they have to bring in their ideas, and then they have to bring the others along with them, helping them fill it in. They help us running the boarding house, sort of, in support. They come and help us put the little ones to bed. There's also other clubs and units in that, and through the school, there's the Student Goals and Implementation Committee, which runs a lot of service involvement. Service is a very, very key part of our education here at Marymount, developing that sense of global citizenship and to give back. You know, we have weekend outings. We do the theatre projects. There's all sorts of things that are going on. It's so busy all the time.
Yes, I can imagine. Yes. Yes.
There's a student council as well, which is a very, very proactive,
Yeah.
and the National Society. So there's all sorts of opportunities for the girls to shine and find themselves.
Yes. Great. So, what about the ethos, the Marymount ethos? It is a Catholic school, so your Catholic values, how are they reflected in the day-to-day life of boarders? And for some families around the world, they're not necessarily Catholic families, but the whole ethos of the school appeals to them and their daughters.
Because I like to think that it might be called Catholic values, but I think it's just really good values for life, you know, and it can be replicated in any faith system and in ordinary good British traditional values or American traditional values or Chinese traditional values. You know, we just believe in do as you would be done by. You bring your best self to the show, and let's always just try and do the right thing. We have a focus, as I say, always on kindness and compassion. Service and reflection is one of our key points. We work a lot on reflecting. It's a deep part of the IB syllabus and the curriculum is this idea of reflection, looking back, you know, looking forward. We're all encouraged to treat each other with kindness, uphold our integrity, just within our PSHEE curriculum, as well as in our family values in the boarding house. Everybody has to kind of, as I say, we sort of do as you will be done by. Let's encourage everybody to be as kind as possible. We don't tolerate any kind of,
Yeah.
you know, or bullying or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's always to try and bring your best self.
Yeah.
That's how we would focus it.
And of course,
And
the IB curriculum also places a lot of value on service and good
it
citizenship and
certainly does.
global citizenship. So I'm
Yes.
that
We
whole.
talk about global awareness, and the most thing that I find is our girls do come from all over the world, and to foster a relationship with your God, with a God, with even if you're between gods, you know, that's a really core part of our RSHM goals. And in order to help the girls to develop, we give them plenty of opportunities for prayer, for liturgy, for ethical discussion, just to connect with and develop and grow their spirituality, whether it's within a faith-bound system or not, you know.
And of
Just
course, the
in
wonderful ground you've got, there's plenty of outdoor space to
every
wander
day,
in and contemplate, etc. But also have a huge
every day
amount
we're
of fun. Also, we haven't touched on sports. You must have some fabulous amenities for sports as
we do.
well.
We have a we don't have a lot of grounds, but we do have a fantastic sporting hall, the sports hall itself, which has got a fantastic fitness centre, which is just state of the art. Everybody can be very fit when they go there. We play volleyball, we play basketball, we play football. We've got tennis clubs, we've got tennis teams. Oh, there's so much that goes on all the time.
Yes. So
Yeah,
very busy, busy time,
very busy.
and of
It's a
course
very busy
keeping the
time.
stress under wraps when it's exam time. Um,
Yes,
that must all be very helpful, I suppose, being in the boarding house and people pulling together and calming people down. But you must have a particularly watchful eye during those
we
exam
do.
periods.
As the exam period comes up, you can see, of course, you know, the pressure and the stress starts to appear and the girls become more and more agitated. But we try and explain to them that a little bit of pressure is not a bad thing. You know, a little bit of anxiety is because something is going to happen, something is exciting going to happen. Never to be sort of afraid of it, but to embrace it. Part of the IB is to work collectively and collaboratively. So we encourage the girls always, and when you're in a boarding situation, you can do that. You know, it's the girls are sitting together in the dining hall studying. So it's nobody's locked away in their room, you know, sitting, you know, worried and anxious and things. We encourage them to get out to study in the lounges together, so that they spur each other on. Or they, you know, if sitting on their phone, the others will say, "Come on, we've got this to do." And if you know if somebody's working too hard, to say, "Come on, we're going to go for a walk now." So we really, really emphasise that collaborative study to enable them to feel supported by each other, to mentor each other as well as by the staff. And of course, with the being on the campus all the time, we've got all the amenities, the libraries, the art room, and everything is right here. The girls in the art, when they're doing arts, they're always there late at night, finishing their portfolios and that into them. So it's an added bonus to have all of these facilities right at your fingertips.
Exactly. And looking ahead then, how is the boarding experience evolving, do you think, to meet today's globally minded student?
I think we have to be aware and awake to absolutely everything that's going on. The world is an extremely volatile environment at the moment, and the children feel it. The young people feel it, and I think they're looking all around all the time and back to us for some kind of structure. The IB gives them that structure. We believe that teaches them not what to think, but how to think. It teaches them how to work together. It teaches them how to research, how to reflect. And that way, I think we give them the best grounding that they can for an environment that's going to ask so much more of them than we can even begin to imagine. We're constantly looking for new inspiration. We're constantly training. We're constantly looking out for innovations in well-being support, in digital learning, in all of the intercultural development. The girls are engaged a lot with our network of schools. So we have schools in Rome and in Paris, in New York, in Colombia and Brazil, and we support places in Zambia. So there's a lot of interconnectedness amongst the network, and the girls move for sport and they move for cultural events. We've got the Marymount in Action trip going off to Oslo. So Europe, so close on the doorstep. So we try and engage them as much in the global network of the RSHM schools as we do in just the Marymount London one, which is it's like a small world itself.
And just for our audience, what does RHM stand for?
Oh, I'm sorry. This is the Religious of the Sacred Heart of Mary, and they are the fine order of nuns who started by Mother Butler in the late 1800s, and they are the wonderful women and who have gone out over the world and supported girls' education, which we feel very strongly about girls thriving within a girls' education thing. I know everybody wants to have friends with boys and things like that, but girls thrive in a girls' study education. They don't feel constrained. They push forward. They pull themselves up. There's nobody holding them back.
Well, that
And
sounds, yes, very positive. Yes. And thank you very much for talking to us today. The more young female leaders, the better in the world. So it sounds as if they're getting a wonderful start to life and global careers.
we certainly hope that we're doing our very best for them here. Thank you for the opportunity.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you, Paula Horton, Head of Boarding, Marymount International School, London. It's been a pleasure to learn more about the school. You'll find details of Marymount International School, London in the closing slides, as well as bio details about Paula Horton. So do get in touch and find out all about the admissions procedure. I'm Fiona Murchie, Managing Editor of Relocate Global and Think Global People. Do enjoy our online International Schools Fair in November and March each year. You'll find plenty of resources on our website, relocateglobal.com and thinkglobalpeople.com, including digital magazines, newsletters, online guides to international education schools, and regular content to support international families, employers, and relocation professionals supporting international employees around the world. Thank you again very much for joining us today.